Hey everyone, I'm Trav, and today I want to talk about songwriting. I have a method that I use that really works for me, and I kind of thought I'd share it. I've chosen to entitle it Dream Awake because that's kind of the philosophy that underpins my method. Whiskey. And what that means is we are aiming for a meditative kind of state. And it's as if you're kind of dreaming, even though you're quite conscious and awake, right? That's the basic philosophy of it. It's divided into two parts, which is why there's two episodes of it. The first part is the dreaming, where you're kind of gathering raw material without censoring. And the second part is when you craft and create that raw material into a song. I've often compared this process to mining. In a way, you kind of take all this raw material in the first step, and then you have to process that material to get the minerals or the precious metals and so forth out of it. It's a bit like that. I think the trick to being creative, and without being airy-fairy or religious or anything necessarily, is to recognize that we are very literally creation itself, in as much as whatever your spiritual model, we come from some unknown source, right? We are part of the whole. And, in the same way that, in the afternoon as the sun sets, it isn't trying to look beautiful. It's just kind of happening. And some sunsets are pretty bland, right? But every now and then, it's magnificent and radiant, and golden light is shining everywhere. And the earth and the sun are not going, oh no, let's try and be a bit beautiful today. Oh, good idea. Let's put some orange down. What do you say? No, there's none of that going on. Or the ocean wave crashing on the beach is magnificent and powerful. It's not trying to be. It just is doing what it does. And this is the same mentality we as artists need to not even seek. It's not about doing anything. It's about allowing that to happen. And it can be ugly. You can come up with, an hour of worthless catharsis, and only later do you go through it and you find the gem, the kernel, the diamond. That's what we're going to do today. It's a little bit like sometimes when we stop using our mind forcefully, often our subconscious desires and beliefs and all the kind of good stuff that lies behind it can start to kind of come through. And often it's in abstract ways. And that's why I like to, when I write songs, be very free form and allow things to just come out. And part of this process is, if you don't have words, just make noises. And in the second phase of this, you can listen to the recording back and start to make some words out of just whatever you were muttering. I've written many songs where I've done that, and people are like, how did you come up with that? And I'm like, well, I just made a sound that sounded a bit like that, and then when I listened to it back, I irreverently turned it into that, right? Part one of this is to stop thinking and allow our emotions to come through us in music and words, right? And then the second part is to use actual learned skill and knowledge to craft it into something. Just like a jeweler will take a chunk of raw silver and craft a ring, okay? Really similar. It's very important, a few things to say real quick. Firstly, you need to be able to play an instrument, okay? It's really important. You don't have to be, Jimi Hendrix or Mozart. You just have to be competent enough to know how to play chords and string melodies together, right? Okay. The second thing is voice recorder. That's your best friend. Especially when you find something that you're enjoying, as we get to in a second, press record, because that's very important to this process. Also, having pen and paper is great, and just notes in your phone. Just write ideas down. If you looked at my notes, you'd see probably hundreds of things I've just written down, like just ideas. Anything, doesn't matter. It's irreverency again, okay? Stop stopping yourself. Just write it down. Just like the sunset. Sometimes it does this amazing job. Other times it's just whatever. It's not trying to, it's just doing some stuff. And you are a part of nature. Just do some stuff. And it works sometimes. Step 1. You are a songwriter. And you just have to accept that. Let it into your bones. Let it be part of your identity. You're walking down the street. You're a songwriter. You hear the bus on the road next to you screech to a halt. Oh, I like that. What's that? And then you get a guitar and you go, doo. Now we're in G minor. Right. That's one example. Or, you might hear someone or someone might say something that just makes your imagination, oh, I like that. And then you make a note of it, and it might turn into a song. It might show up in just one little lyric, Lennon, for example, John Lennon, some of his lyrics, like I read the news today, oh boy, 4,000 holes in Blackburn, Lancashire. He was actually reading a newspaper, and there was an article about 4,000 potholes in the roads in Blackburn at that time, and he just put it in the song. You know what I'm saying? That's irreverency. It's just always being aware. I'm a songwriter. Inspiration can come from anywhere, be it melodic, be it just a chord progression, be it a lyrical idea. Just always be ready for ideas to come. Now, step 2 is to listen. Listening to other people's music. A lot of it. And learning how to play it. We do this because we're learning form. And we're getting a sense of how other people have written their songs. Now, we don't want to copy them. And we can take some cues, like, for example, when I was first starting out, a lot of my songs sounded like Beatles songs because that's all I cared about was the Beatles. And I would come home from school every day. I saved up my money and I had a lot of Beatles songbooks that were all in the wrong keys. And it really used to annoy me. And the chords were wrong and all kinds of stuff. So I saved up my money and I bought like an $80 Beatles songbook. It was about that thick. It had all 202 songs they ever recorded. And every day, not a word of a lie, I would come home and I would just start at All I Gotta Do all the way through to Yes It Is. And I would just sing every song and I'd play every song. And even before I had that big book, I would go through whatever songbook I had and play it in the key that I could. And sometimes my dad would have written the transposed chords in because he hated it too, that it was in the wrong key. And so, I would always go through and just play these songs and learn the structures, learn where the middle eights are, learn why there's a middle eight there. And the Beatles are a great place to start. They're like a textbook, right? Right, so step 3 is finish your whiskey and play some guitar. Yeah, this is where it all happens, right? And just take a moment, just settle. You've got to tune your guitar. Please tune your guitar. Once you've got your guitar in tune, it's really important to, it is basically going into a meditative state. And it's kind of cool that just yesterday or last night, a guy happened to put in a YouTube video about a camera gimbal, a snippet from Alan Watts. And at first I just stopped it. But then I realized it was Alan Watts. So I found the video, I went back, because I knew that it would be valuable, because it's Alan Watts, and it's just beautiful. And this is what he said.
The easiest way to get into the meditative state is to begin by listening.
The very same thing is true for our creativity. Start by listening, because you're adding this to what's already here. And the most enlightened and inspired I've ever been writing songs. I know this probably sounds a bit hippie trippy, okay, but it really has felt like the whole world is listening to me. Like the trees and the animals are all okay with what I'm doing. Do you know what I mean? And it's a difficult state to get to. It's an elevated kind of consciousness. It's so much about being at one with the moment, and it's so important to just allow, again, all that negativity to just slip away, just for a little while. You can get negative after dinner if you want to. And once you kind of get started, just pick a chord and just start playing. And it just doesn't matter what you play. If you don't like what you do, change, do something different. You know, just play some stuff. And that's just like a pretty boring chord progression, but that could be something, you know, there's something in that. Or I could go, I like E minor now, you know, I put a seventh on top, and I'm just choosing that. I don't really have a preference, but I just feel like going. And that D wants to be C sharp in my mind, but that didn't sound right, did it? So, maybe it's a D major 7. That's pretty cool. I reckon that's pretty cool. So here I am, I'm just finding some grooves. Or, you know, maybe I feel a bit more like a... So this is the process now. So I'm going to start to deepen in and find a groove I like. And step 4 is when you start to experiment with different things that you like the sound of and change it up, okay? Again, what we're looking for here is just an in, just the beginning of something that turns you on. And this is also where we start singing, and it doesn't really matter what we sing. Make some sounds, and make sounds you think sound cool, right? And then later, in the second video, we'll talk about how to turn that into a song. And with any luck, we'll get a song out of this. So I'm just going to play now and see what comes out. I just feel like G major 7. Often helps to have a mood in mind. Like, if I just had a coffee, I'd be more likely to be going. That was terrible. But no, I don't feel that way right now. How do I feel right now? That's a good question. I'm going to start by listening to the night and checking in with myself. I might go back to this idea that I had. So straight away I've got carried away, and I like the idea of feathers, right? And I want to come up, so I'll be like... Carried away on a silver wing, and I thought I saw... See, yeah, I mean, that's not about see, it's like, wow, she's She digs it, man. She's like, ah, okay. Now I'm going to let her in, you know. If I told you carried away, find a groove, just go with it, because you're recording it all, right? Maybe later on I'll come back to that thing. You go, ooh-ah. Maybe I never will. Irreverency. In the distance shines a light, calling your name. In the sand. You see how in the sand, that's nothing. I just said some sounds, but I want to say in the silence because I heard that and I went, oh, in the silence. In the silence sits a lonely child. Bit of a bleak image. But in the center of her smile waits the night. Waits the night. In the center of her smile waits the night. But yeah, I mean, I'm just doing stuff, right? If I investigate my mind, oh, if I find something that I like, I will sing it again, and I'll celebrate the light. Now, I'm not saying anything I'm doing right now is particularly good or impressive or memorable or beautiful, but it's honest and it's just stuff I'm doing. I mean, I'm playing the three most ordinary and boring and predictable chords in the book, right? Of the night, it doesn't belong here. The tears of truth can return to you. So right now I've got like a fair bit of material. I'm just going to do a bit more. I'm just going to do a little bit more. I'm going to find a new vibe. A really good trick is get a capo. If you need to find something different, if it's different, put a capo on. Oh, she's moved onto my place. Good little sweetie. I'm going to write a song about her. Why not? So I want to sing about a bond between people or beings, and I know I want the melody to come down. And I kind of think probably from here. Ooh. Ooh, ooh, there's no bond between you and me. I love you so much, and I'm sorry if I don't always show it, but I love you. And I always have. I'm just talking about my mom and people that sometimes you just can't show your love to, and it hurts. This is catharsis, and this is largely where songs come from. Just expressing something that you just don't often express. 'Cause our time will run out before too long, and I will miss you so. I'm sorry that I didn't call you up. I'm sorry that I cut you off. Here I am speaking something that I feel right. Now, I just want to talk about finding sounds that sound good. And then you can craft it in the next step, right? So, I love you, I'm trying, all that. Okay, great. Now I'm going to listen to these chords and see what sounds I think sound good. Irreverency. I have no idea what I just said. There's a few things there that were like, oh, you know, kiss your eyes, whatever. I'll listen to it back and I'll see what I can craft. I think that will probably be the bit that I dig, that I go with, but there could be anything in there that I like. That's the end of this video, because step 7, which is the next video, is going to be me going through that and crafting a song out of the raw material. Whew, that was fun. It's really cathartic. It's really, really rewarding. So I hope that you enjoyed it. And I look forward to talking to you in the next video. See you later.
Please hang up and try again.